Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be doing something very exciting. I'm doing a high-end versus affordable makeup. So this video was kindly suggested by one of my friends, Layla, who is obviously a very good friend of mine and an avid watcher. So thank you so much, Layla, for suggesting this video. She suggested it a while ago, but with me, I'm always kind of like, okay, I will film it, and then I get distracted by other things, as in like I'm filming other products. So today I managed to get a full face. Now when I say high end, I don't want to say like expensive like Charlotte Tilbury or Pat McGrath and stuff like that. It's more like kind of what I can afford and what I would call like my high end. So there are some products that are a bit more on the expensive side, but when we get there we'll talk about it. So we're going to start off with primer. So haven't decided which side I'm going to do what, but let's just get into it. So we're doing the Elf Power Grip Primer, and you guessed it, we're doing the Milk Hydro Primer as well, basically. So these are pretty much the same product. We'll see how that kind of goes and how it feels. So I'm going to start with the Elf one. So this is more of a recent release compared to the Milk one. So I'm going to start on this side for our affordable side. So this primer itself is £10. And you know, when it comes to Elf products, I have said this so many times, I say this like every video, I think that this year and last year they have done so well with their products. Like they've recently just come out with the like filter finish thing, which again another kind of like dupe-esque product when it comes to like Charlotte Tilbury. But the product that I'm obviously gonna compare it with, which is my Milk one, is literally like the dupe, like the original version. I've had this for so long now. I've had this for, I'm gonna say like 2 years. I'm gonna say, I remember, yeah, I got this in like when I lived in the other flat, and I do really like this. It's the small version, but I still feel like this is still quite expensive. I think this is like, normally I think it's probably like £20 or something like that. So when I think high end, it's probably obviously a lot more on the higher end than I would normally purchase. And I haven't been using it as much recently because I don't know, I've been kind of using my Elf one, so I've just been going with that one. So they feel exactly the same, so we'll see how they feel. I do have my fan on because it gets very warm in this flat where I live, so I need to like have the fan on most times when my window's not open. So let's go on to foundation, and this is a very, very obvious one because I mentioned it ages ago, but I'm going to be using the KVD Vegan Good Apple, and I'm going to use my She Glam like recent balm foundation. So these again, very, very similar in what they do and how they feel. I haven't used this in so long, and I'm going to use my normal technique, which is a sponge, with this one because I've always felt that this product is used much better with a sponge, and I cannot wait to use these side by side. I've seen a couple of people on YouTube already do this comparison, which is quite an obvious comparison anyway, because they're basically both balm products and they're both very similar in what they do. So I'm gonna just put this on this side because this is my, of course, high-end side. The prices are again very, very different. I mean, this KVD one I'm pretty sure is about like £39–40, maybe a bit more than that, and then the She Glam one was less than £10. And I've been using so much She Glam recently, like buying a lot of their products, because I've mentioned this numerous times, but on the weekend they do have free shipping. So if you ever want to test out some She Glam products and just see what they're about, I can honestly say that their blush is one of my favorites. This foundation that I will show you guys is one of my favorites ever. It's worth just checking out. So as you can see, it's a very pale shade for me. It's in the shade 004. So of course this is a much paler one. I remember when I purchased this, it was like the lightest tone that they had because it sold so quickly. This was one of the products that went viral on TikTok, and we all know what viral means in the world of like TikTok. Like a couple of people are paid to like do promotions, and it just gets like blown like crazy. So I'm gonna put this down because when I use my She Glam one, I love using a brush, and I have used a sponge with this one, but I don't feel like it gives me the best coverage that I want. So if you haven't seen this one before, I have done a video on it if you want to check it out. But I honestly think this brush, like this stippling brush, so this is a Spectrum B02. This is very soft because I think I've had it in like my warm cupboard for a while. This is a much different tone, so this is a bit deeper for me. So I'm just gonna tap and bring this all the way up, and this is a very obvious like high-end kind of comparison because this is, again, like I mentioned, like under £10. It's a balm foundation. They do very, very similar things. Again, the tones are different. That's just my fault because I picked up a different tone that it actually is, but you only need the tiniest amount. I'm going to put this away because I don't need any more. You can see the coverage that it's given me. They're both giving me great coverage. I feel like the She Glam one has given me a little bit more coverage, and I do know that people are not really a big fan of the Good Apple one just because it's not really what people thought it was, because obviously, like I mentioned, when it went viral, I think so many people were just like, oh my god, this is the greatest like balm foundation ever, and then they realized that it probably wasn't as great as they hoped. I still like it. Like I said, it stayed in my collection because number one, it was expensive, but then two, I have not had any issues. You can definitely tell the tone difference because, like I mentioned, they're very, very different tones, but I still feel like that it's given me that nice glow. So if you do like a glow, you've got the affordable version and the higher end version. So I'm now going to go in with a concealer. So to match my Good Apple one, I'm using my KVD one, and on the more affordable side, I'm using my Catrice True Skin. So I'm going to start off with this one, and I'm going to use a sponge on both ends because they're just really helpful, because I think sponge is just so much better. I'm going to add a tiny amount just because I don't feel like I need much on this side, because again, that She Glam one is full coverage. So I'm just going to add some just under my eyes because I have a lot of bags as per usual. And then when you think of like the Good Apple one coinciding with it, I mean, this is a more recent product that they came out with because it did probably take them a little while to bring that out, but I still absolutely love the packaging. I've used this so much recently because it's such a good concealer, really, and I probably again won't need too much because the Good Apple foundation is really good coverage. And price wise, I know the Catrice one is like £3 if that, but then the Good Apple one I would say is probably around £25. Maybe I would say more, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it's around like the £25 mark, because KVD is not the most affordable brand, in all honesty. Even like the new liquid lipsticks, I'm pretty sure were like 29, like 19, 18, yeah, like £19, which is not the most expensive, but it's still a bit more in the higher aspect of it. So far I cannot say there's a massive difference, maybe apart from the tone. That's the most obvious thing, to be honest. I'm slowly putting these away because my desk is so full of so many products. So let's have a closer look. I'm actually going to powder down some parts because I have a liquid product, surprise, that I'm going to use. So I'm going to add some powder. I don't have like any high-end powders, in all honesty, so everything I'm just going to set it down because I don't, there's just some places I don't need to like add my blush too. So this is just like a nice affordable one, my MUA one, which is like £2.50, one of the best matte powders ever. So let's go on to blush. So one of these products is not going to be a big surprise because I don't ever shut up about it. I haven't used it in a while, so I'm going to use it, my Melt Cosmetics cream blush light, and I'm going to use the Cheek by Be Perfect. So this is, I would say, around £35, and this is like £12. So again, a bit of a big price difference. I'm going to go in with a brush on this side because I like to have a lot of like control when it comes to using my blushes. So we are gonna just like tap. I haven't used this in so long. I'm really tempted to buy a new one because it's getting a little bit sad. Like it seems like I've barely used any of it, but this is one of my favorite blushes like of all time. If you guys watch me since like these have been out, you know that I use it quite frequently, just because it is honestly just one of my favorite blushes of all time. And then now we've got the Cheek. So this is quite a recent product with Be Perfect. They come out with so many products all the time that it's hard to kind of keep track when certain things have come out. But this is in the shade Blushing. Actually, that I forgot to mention, this is in the shade Polished, in case anyone was ever interested. So I try to match my tones as much as possible when it comes to like foundations. It took me ages to find some like lipsticks, and I'm hoping that I found some good matches. But with this, it did take me a while because none of my blushes tend to look exactly the same, and so I just thought, you know what, it doesn't have to be completely perfect because again, they're meant to be a comparison of prices, but again, I wanted to just match if I could. So I mean, I think I got kind of close, not perfect, but I think I got kind of, yeah, quite nice. I mean, this one, like the Cheek, does blend out really nicely, and actually so does this one. I don't think I've added like enough on this side, but I still feel like it's a really nice like comparison. So let's go on to highlighter. So I am going to go in with one that I've used like quite a lot, so my Ofra highlighter in the shade Rodeo Drive, and I'm going in with my Catrice More Than Glow highlighter, just because I don't own any other like high-end highlighters, to be honest. Like I have no interest in buying really expensive highlighters because they just don't, if it was a brand that appealed to me, then absolutely. Like there's some Melt ones that I really want to try, but they're like £35–40, and I've heard that they're not that amazing. But this one I've had for freaking ages anyway, so this one is always like a nice gold tone. And then we're going to go in with Catrice. I'm going to use the other kind of side of my brush because I just didn't bring my other brush with me. This is like £3 or £4. This is one of the best highlighters I've ever tried. Honestly, I love talking about this. I love Catrice. I think they are a really great brand that you can get online. Just my look, they're always coming out with like amazing new stuff, but this highlighter is honestly so damn good compared to when you think of Rodeo Drive, which is like £29, and then you have this for like £2.50. Like I think I found a good kind of ish comparison, if I say so myself. So now we're going to go on to eyes. So I'm actually going to go in with some eye bases. So I'm going to go with my P. Louise base, which is going to be like my high-end version, just because I have this one by Profusion, and you can tell that these are very similar in packaging. I absolutely love the P. Louise base. It is one of my favorite like eyeshadow bases. It's always like my go-to. And then a couple of months ago I bought some stuff from Profusion and I saw this and I was like, I need to get this to kind of like make a comparison. I've used it a couple of times. It's nice. It's nothing crazy special when you kind of think about it. So I'm just gonna add some on here and then just tap in my sponge because obviously I'm going to be adding some eyeshadow in a moment. So yeah, that just blends out super nicely. And then with this one I have to give it a bit of a shake because I haven't used it in a while, and I hope it hasn't gone funny, but I do remember this is very watery compared to the P. Louise one, so I have to be quite careful that it just doesn't fly everywhere. But okay, again, this is a more pale version. I know with the P. Louise one you can buy a variety of different shades, which is great because to match like all skin tones. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna sort out my table because it's such a mess, and because the next like eyeshadow palettes that I'm gonna use, we've got some big ones. We've got like a big one and a small one. So for my high end, I'm gonna go with my P. Louise Money Shot palette, so you can tell I'm doing a green look today. And for my affordable side, I'm using my Mini Earthy palette by Beauty Bay. So this normally is about £60. This is £6.50. So, or maybe, yeah, probably around £6.50 because this is the £9 one. If you haven't seen this palette before, it's actually insane. It's massive. I did remember saying when I tried it first, I was a bit like, you know what, there's too many shades in here. I still stand by that just because so many of these shades are like copy and pasting. And so I thought today I would use this. And then for this side, oh my god, it's just trying to hold this. And of course with the Earthy palette, you do have the big £42 one, then I think you have the 16, and then you have the 9. So I kind of know what shades I'm going for. I'm just going to start off with the affordable one first because we have just a few colours that I can dip into. But I was looking through my collection, I was like, what the hell am I going to use? What look am I going to do? But I'm just going to go for it because we've got some comparison. So I'm going to make sure that my eyelid is not creasing that much. So let's start off on the affordable side. So we are going to start off with Apple, just here. And some of these shades are in like other Beauty Bay palettes as well, but they're really such gorgeous pigmentation. And again, Beauty Bay have some of the best formulas. I think I've said this so many times, but I think that their shimmers are so much better than their matte tones. This is obviously getting some help from the primer. So I'm just going to blend this back and forth. I haven't used this in a while, but I'm more looking obviously for the tones as opposed to anything else. So this is gorgeous tone. I think I'm going to do one side at a time. There's no point like dipping back and forth. So I'm just got to remember that what tones, what shades that I used. So now I'm going to go in with a smaller brush and we're going to go in with Pickle just here. When it comes to this type of palette, it's quite difficult to do so many different looks because some of the tones are a little bit similar, like with this one, but then when you compare it to the 42 pan, god, there's just too many shades. I love their 42 pan palettes, but it's just too much for me. I've got barely anywhere to store them, and I think with these small ones they just do a great job. So I'm just blending this back and forth. Let me know what you guys think of like the comparison so far, like the high end versus affordable, because I feel like some of them are pretty obvious and like kind of good choices. So yeah, let me know what you think. So now I'm gonna go in with eucalyptus, which is one of my favorite words in the world. I know that's such a weird thing to say, but eucalyptus is a great word. I'm just going to put that in the middle just to deepen everything here. Okay. And we're going to end on a lovely shimmer as always. Okay. I'm going to blend that first one back out a little bit just so it's not too hidden, and then now we're going to end on Moss just here. I'm actually going to use my finger because I feel like it would give me such better coverage. Oh my god, I was tempted to use my Smoke Sessions palette by Melt Cosmetics, but I've used it so many times especially in like comparison videos, that I feel like maybe that's a bit of a boring example, but it's still one of my favourite palettes of all time. So I'm going to go back in just slightly with Apple and just blend it around. Oof. I feel like I've done quite a nice job here. I know this is like Fallout Central, so I'm going to try and clean that up a little bit. Alright. Okay, so that is one side done. I honestly can say, like, with like 3 or 4 steps, it's just so much easier to do than having a palette that is like over 60 shades maybe. So now I'm going to go in with my Money Shot, and again it's quite difficult to hold up, so I am going to try my best to like show you each shade as I go. So let's start off with that really nice like soft green, and I'm going to start off with the shade Green Screen, which is just here. So I really love like P. Louise makeup, but sometimes it can be a lot, especially with like this like style, like this size of palettes. Like I have 2 of these now. I have the Watch the Queen Conquer, and I both got them at very affordable prices, just because at £60 they're not the most affordable, but the pigments in them are insane, so you can't really fault them for that. But when it comes to just everything else, it's a little bit much. Like the amount of shadows you get, okay, but am I ever going to use them all up? Definitely not, definitely not. So I kind of do prefer her mini palettes, but I got this one because I mean I follow her on TikTok, and so I was kind of looking and just going, I don't need this palette, I don't need this palette. I saw it and I was like, you know what, it's such a good price, how can I say no? And that's how they reel you in. So I'm going to go in with the next shade deeper, which was more kind of striker pose, which is this one, and that's going to kind of go in the middle. I should probably use a smaller brush just to kind of make it a bit more steady. So but yeah, that's essentially like how they get you, especially on like TikTok these days. You've got these massive palettes that are on such a reduced price, and they're great. Oh my god, this is so heavy. Holding this up is a pain. Like they're great and they end up being great value, but god, stocking them and storing them is like just a chore in itself. But again, it's a nice palette. This comes with 2 sides. Haven't shown you my other one, but if you want to see my original review on this, then please check it out, because I do 2 different looks really, so you can check it out. This side isn't as darker as like that eucalyptus shade or the other one, but I'm going to slowly build it up to like this deeper tone. And I'm going to go in next with, oh my god, Onset, which is this one here, which is a bit more like the eucalyptus shade, and so it's gonna blend this out here. Oof. It's like lifting weights, this palette, honestly. Right, it's nice, really nice. I don't think I've got the look 100% like the same, but I've almost kind of got it. I think once I add this last shimmer, I think it'll be fine. So I'm going to go in now with Walk of Fame, which is just here. So I'm going to take my finger, and this is a very similar tone. I feel like maybe a bit lighter, but yeah. I mean, thing is, P. Louise isn't like listed as like a high-end brand. They have some very good affordable makeup, and then you've got this one. But to be honest, again, when you look at the price, it's such a big difference when it comes to like some of her smaller palettes. So her smaller ones I think are around like £20, maybe less than that, and then you look at the other ones, and these ones are massive, so they're like 60. Okay, I might try and go in with another shade which is a bit lighter and tap it on slightly. because I haven't got like the deeper tone match, but I still feel like it's a nice kind of green comparison when you think about it. There's not much else I can really add to it, to be honest, just because when it comes to these green tones, there's no like deep one to kind of like connect it. So I'm actually gonna just, yeah, there's not much else I can really do to like colors wise, so I'm gonna go in with eyeliner. So I have two different eyeliners today, and again, when I said high end, I'm not going to be like, whoa, it's so expensive, but we've got the Epic Liner by NYX Cosmetics, and then we have the Super Flick by Relove Revolution. This is £15. This is like £2.50 or £3. I honestly love this liner so much, but I've fallen in love with this liner a lot recently. Like when I went to like the NYX event, I basically got given this as a gift, and I've been always wanting to try it for ages. It is honestly one of the best eyeliners I've ever tried. It's got great control on it, it's got such a great flick, and it lasts all day. If you want a good liner, I think someone at work actually said to me, can you recommend me a good eyeliner? I recommended them this just because it is really, really good. Like, it took me like 1 or 2 brush strokes to get that. And then with this Relove Revolution one, it's one of their like hidden treasures, I really think, because it's got such a nice kind of like black tone to it, and again, very soft. This is leaking, oh god. Wow, what a great comparison I was gonna give you guys. Let's see if I can still salvage it, but honestly, I would always use this, well, if it was leaking, but I would always use this one when I want a really affordable eyeliner, and I will definitely buy this again. If this is ruined, I will buy another one on my next Revolution order. That's how much I love it. I love this one, and I love my collection one. I think the collection one, or it's like anyway, they're about £3.50, and again, very similar in the way that it uses like the flick. It's great. These nibs are amazing. I don't know why it's leaking. That's really annoying, so hopefully it's not leaking anymore. So let's go on to mascara. I rarely use many mascaras, but I'm gonna try like my Spectrum one. For this is like the high-end version, and versus like my Catrice one, so I believe this is about £15. Spectrum makeup has not always been one for me that I'm like, oh my god, I have to use Spectrum makeup, because it's more their brushes that I absolutely love. I love their like their brushes are amazing, but with their makeup I've not tried much. But I got this in like a mystery box a while ago, and I haven't had a chance to actually use it properly, and it's fine. I mean, mascaras never really do much for me. And the Catrice one, this is the Glam Doll. This is like their part of their princess line, and this is like £2.50. I know the wand is very different, but again, like price comparison wise and just usage is great. Like, I love using this one. I think I used it in a video quite recently as well. So yeah, it's always my lower lash line, which is going to be like the more kind of like that you actually see. So now we're ending on the lips. We're finally here, and I think so far you can't tell much difference apart from the different color on my eyes. I honestly think we've done quite a good job here. So on my high-end side, I've got my NYX Lip, Liquid Lips Lingerie XXL in the shade Turned On, and then I had this new Revolution lipstick. This is their IRL Whipped Lip Cream in the shade Cinnamon, so I'm gonna get these both on. I realised that I didn't take off the plastic, so let's start on with this one, and these tend to be around £13–14. This was £5, so again, when I was looking at high-end versus affordable, I was looking at more the shades and the tones, because I don't really have many high-end lipsticks, so it took me a while to actually find something quite similar, and these nude tones are great. So let's start off with this side. And the formula on these One of my favourite formulas of all time. So good. So I'm going to try and get halfway as much as possible. Oh, absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. So let's go in with this side now. I haven't even tried this, so I'm hoping it's going to look good. It's quite similar in tones. I think this might be a bit lighter. Yeah, that's okay. This actually smells of cinnamon. Wow, okay. That's, I was not expecting that. This is a nice tone even by itself. I don't think I have like higher end lipstick in this tone, but this is nice. I hope longevity wise this is good. The smell does linger slightly, so I mean that's fine. Again, tones are very different. Let's just try and ignore that if we can. And this is my finished look. We finally got here. My hair is such a mess. Let me know what you guys think. Was that a fair comparison of like high-end versus affordable? Because I feel like even though some of my products were not crazy expensive, you do see the comparison between prices and some products that you would deem kind of very affordable and cheap. So if you guys like this type of video, let me know. I could try and do another one again with some very different products, because I'm pretty sure I can compare some other ones. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, because I film and upload every time I get a chance to. Don't forget to follow me on any of my social media, because I'm always active on there. You get to see close up of all the pictures and everything else. And yeah, I hope you guys are doing so well, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.